Alexandra Eala just stunned the entire BNP. The Paribas Open and the tennis community are still trying to figure out what happened. Music, Roger Federer's coach saw it coming before anyone else, and his reaction is currently causing a stir on the internet. It wasn't just another game. This was not going to be another retirement. International Women's Day is observed on March 8, 2026. Music. At Indian Wells Stadium 1, one of the most famous tennis courts in the world, a 20-year-old Filipino woman went to the biggest stage of her life, met the fourth-ranked athlete in the world, and left the court after completely changing her story. Before the evening ended, everyone in the tennis community had an opinion. Because of what had happened, the phones kept ringing and buzzing, and comments kept coming in. It was historical as well as theatrical. Additionally, if you think you already know this story, stay put and discover it, because there are layers to this event that most people are completely unaware of. You must go back and acknowledge Alexandra Eala's identity and, more importantly, the person she was being asked to become in order to understand why Indian Wells impacted so hard this evening in a new, musical way. Eala was described as one of the most exquisitely exposed secrets in the BNP's official tournament report for the Paribas Open. Before ever going to the Indian Wells, he was already a well-known figure in the sport. First-time main attraction. Think about that for a second. The competition itself and a 20-year-old making her WTA 1000 Masters debut. Music are making her feel like a celebrity that most people would crumble under such pressure. Athletes before to their opportunity to serve, but the majority of players are not like Alexandra Eala. With the support of her many devoted fans, K-City's Southpaw made her Tennis Paradise's main draw debut. Furthermore, we mean an army when we talk about fans. After Eala's late-night revenge against Diana Estrika during her Indian Wells debut on Friday, she gained between 960,000 and 967,000 Instagram followers in a single night. 7,000 new fans for a single game in the California desert at midnight. That isn't a tennis player. It's a movement. Furthermore, it didn't start in Indian Wells. Eala had spent the entire season getting ready for this. Eala's 2026 WTA Tour record is 106, which includes notable wins over Paolini Jasmine and Donna Vake. This year, she had already triumphed over some of the world's best players. But Indian Wells, also referred to as Tennis Paradise, was a very other species. She had never been here before. She had never drawn this deep on a court this huge while everyone in the tennis world was watching. She had already watched a movie on Sunday night. In a match that lasted more than 3 hours and ended near midnight in the Californian desert, Eala made a spectacular debut at Indian Wells by defeating the former Grand Slam semi-finalist Diana Estrika 7-5, 4-6, 7-5. Eala was all but eliminated from the competition. In the third set of the match, Yosta scored 54 in serves. Eala was just one game away from going home before she retaliated. Music. Instead, she retreated from the edge and found a way to be successful. She later said, "I feel great now. I just told myself to keep battling, and I kept competing. It really took a lot of searching and serious digging to find that one." Her entire tenure in Indian Wells would be summed up by just 2 words. And no one could have imagined how far that well would go, not even the people who believed in her the most. And then Sunday night came. Keep watching because what happened later changed everything. The game was scheduled, music, before the competition began. In what was once said to be the most eagerly awaited match of the championship, Coco, Alexandra, and Gauff were slated to face off less than 3 weeks after Dubai, with Gauff significantly favored by the statistics. Music. Coco Gauff had scored 62 in Dubai 17 days before Indian Wells. There isn't any rivalry after 17 days. The beatdown, which serves as a reminder of the exact location of the pecking order, persisted. Music. Gauff ranked 4th globally. On the 31st, Eala was there. Furthermore, Gauff had barely broken a sweat in their lone prior meeting. Eala did not, however, escape Dubai's recollection. Music. She embraced it. In front of Indian Wells, Eala said she wanted to perform her music again. She is, in my opinion, both an incredible person and an amazing athlete, and she provides a justification. Our most recent game was excellent. I've always thought she's amazing. When I share the court with her, I learn a lot. Music. If we ever crossed paths again, I would love to put those lessons to use on the court, whether it was during a practice or a game. That is a different kind of certainty. Arrogance and grace, not hunger or swagger. Music, was the final game of Sunday's card-shutting session, which took place at Venelton Arena, Yannick Center and Sabalanka. Eala was the dessert. The end. The competitors at Stadium 1 looked forward to the evening's conclusion. Music. The crowd was amazing. Stadium 3 was packed for Eala's first game on Friday. There were more than 100 people in the center of the queue for general admission seats. She was now on the main stage during the game. There will be no more courts that are too little. Music, no. Finishes on an outdoor court near midnight. This was the huge area where everyone in the globe was watching beneath the full lights. Around the end of the first set, when the number reached 52, Gauff received medical therapy. A trainer massaged her left shoulder and forearm. Music. Gauff's left forearm was covered with a compression bandage in between sets. Nevertheless, music. Gauff departed for the second group despite the obvious distress and difficulty. She didn't intend to give up easily. That individual is Coco Gauff. She fights until her physical capabilities are exhausted. No more. Even though the heart hadn't caught up yet, the body had already made its decision. Music. Eala smacked her forehand. The winner will break for 2-0 in the second. Gauff decided to go to the net and end the game at that point. Eala didn't know at first. Gauff was lounging on the internet when she turned to look. Before I knew it, the game was finished. The two rivals from opposite ends of the planet at opposite extremes of the rankings gave each other an embrace, and something genuinely beautiful happened during that silent human moment. But wait, Eala's next sentence is what caused the entire internet to collapse. Avoid leaping forward. After the game, there are moments and interviews. What Alexandra Eala produced on March 8, 2026, a historic night at Stadium 1 Center Court. Eala started her incorporated court interview by thanking all the women who had made the International Women's Tennis Day possible. Not her backhand, not her rating, and not her serve. Music. She started by honoring the ladies who invented the sport. She was placed on the biggest platform she had ever been on at International Women's Day. I want to thank all of the incredible ladies who have paved the way and helped other women as well as themselves. Eala said, Coco is one of them. She watched play golf in front of thousands of people while it was broadcast live on television and streamed to millions more people globally. Music. Eala looked at the woman she had just attacked and described her as an inspiration and role model rather than a rival. I'm thankful, Coco said, for being an excellent competitor and role model. During her encore, Eala said, I sincerely hope that everything is good and you'll get better music soon. Interview. She then looked up at the stands. Music, Eala said, I want to express my gratitude to her for being the wonderful woman she is and for helping me in becoming the woman I am, and that applies to all mothers, as she acknowledged her mother Reza, who was watching from the chairs. Music. Reza responded by kissing her daughter back. The internet went berserk. The audience erupted. In just a few hours, a sample of the speech was played thousands of times. Music. Filipino fans who watched the game all night uploaded the scene on every platform imaginable. Tennis accounts rarely deal with emotional content. Instead, they pause their highlight reels to show the entire interview. Music. On Sunday night, even people who had never heard of Alexandra Eala's identity were taken aback. Her name came back to me. Music. Because of who she was in the wake of it, not because of the score. Before the game, Eala had made a declaration. Since I'm surrounded by so many amazing players, I make every effort to keep my ground and stay modest. They were more than just words. That was one way of thinking. Music. On Sunday night, everyone on the planet saw that concept in action. Furthermore, she had just recently touched the tip of the iceberg of what was on the way. Music. Because Roger Federer's coach was already speaking on television at that speech, which would have an impact for weeks. Gauff and Eala have never played their game before the Indian Wells draw was even completed. One of the most well-known and respected voices in the tennis community went public with anything that increased knowledge of the sport. For those who don't know, the resume name is Paul Annika Music. Two of the greatest sportsmen in history, Roger Federer and Pete Sampras, were coached by Anna Cohn, a former number 12 in the world. It's that simple when Anna Cohn talks about how the tennis world pays attention to players and music. Before Eala's first appearance at Anna Cohn's Indian Wells, he spoke candidly about the elements that created Filipinas' distinctive music on the Tennis Channel. A smile that lights up every room has been given to her. Anna Cohn began. Music. I remember how humbly and gracefully she overcame Ida Hyatek last year. He wasn't only complimenting her on her tennis abilities. He was talking about her character, how she handles herself, and how she succeeds. The gold standard of tennis for a man who spent years coaching Federer. Music. I thought it was amazing to use such specific comments about a 20-year-old from the Philippines. Music. I like her strategy, so it was great to see her win that game and then continue to play. It's clear that she wants to improve upon her present ranking of 32 in the world. Despite this, she has excellent hand-eye coordination and the ability to catch the ball early and reroute it. Anna Cohn said that he wasn't done. But, the fan said, I usually find things enjoyable because every time you witness players from smaller nations, the supporters are incredibly fervent when they reach the summit. Those music remarks flooded back into each timeline after Eala defeated Gauff. Anna Cohn's recommendation before to the tournament was shared on social media, along with comments made following the game and the exceptional circumstances surrounding the retirement. The narrative essentially wrote itself. This was what Roger Federer's personal coach had predicted. The world was already aware of what Eala possessed thanks to him. And now, on the biggest stage of her career, she was carrying out all he had said. Fans of Anna Cohn's talk used a single term to title the video. And the tennis community is just in agreement, astonished, thrilled, passionate, and capable. But this is the part of the story that hasn't been thoroughly discussed yet. Music. Gauff's later comments and their justifications are more significant than the score. Music. No matter how good the internet connection is, gamers will find a way to start a conflict when the story ends with retirement. Some fans will question the timing. Some will question the accuracy of the injury. Gauff clarified that it happens every single time, not just now. Her wounds felt like a firework going off within my arm, and then my entire arm started to burn. Music. That doesn't describe a player searching for a simple way out. For as long as she could, that athlete endured genuine anguish while trying to figure out how to compete before her body finally gave up. Gauff claims that the problem first surfaced during the second match game. We'll find out what it is tomorrow, but based on how I feel, I've been told that it's probably nerve-related. This is unlike anything I have ever encountered. She said, I've never felt anything like this before. Then, even when I wasn't using my arm for shots that I wasn't even using my left arm, it continued to become worse as the game went on. She experienced nerve pain and arm deterioration with